So I attended the official SLATE EV truck reveal in Los Angeles last Thursday. And no, this video is not sponsored by SLATE. They did not ask me to talk about it or make content about it in any shape or form. As a matter of fact, I was kind of scratching my head in the beginning because I wasn't really sure why I was invited. Although I like cars, I'm just not the auto journalist type. But I did get my answer, as the evening progressed, which I will share with you later in this video. Now, I want to give you some expectations for this video. I'll be sharing clips of the actual event that I captured myself, and I'll be talking about the truck as a whole, my thoughts on the general idea and the accessories, and also the product itself, the EV truck, as I saw it during the event, and why I think this product is actually quite important, specifically during this time. So just to give you a backstory, I received the invite to attend the reveal probably a week prior to the event. And up to that point, I honestly have not heard of SLATE at all. And for good reason, because they basically just kept everything under wraps. And only the ones that really follow the EV space were kind of aware of what was going on, who SLATE was and what was the goal. It was up until maybe 2 days before the event when spy shots started to emerge online. And that's when I kind of understood, like, oh, this is what SLATE is. Just in case you're not aware, SLATE is essentially a very basic pickup truck that you can buy for around $25,000. Now, if you were to get the federal credit, because it is an EV, that can go down to as low as, I'd say, below $20,000, if what they say is actually true. The basic concept of this truck is modularity. So you buy the base model, which has pretty much just all the base features you would expect from a vehicle. So you can essentially upgrade parts as you go along, or depending on what you need. Because let's face it, there are some people who need a truck that don't necessarily work in construction. So going back to the presentation, Chris Barman gave this whole presentation about what SLATE is all about. And what stood out to me was how American the whole brand and the whole concept really felt. And when I say that, there's this sense of pride for the product, the fact that it's made in America, but not in a egotistical or arrogant sense. And I actually kind of like that. And then they showed different configurations of the truck via graphics on the screen, which, by the way, was really impressive. Whoever was the designer or the motion graphics designer, the art director, everyone who's part of that team did a really good job. They actually showed a configuration of the truck and a whole multitude of different configurations that reminded me of Legos, which is quite entertaining, to be honest. They spoke a lot about safety, about how basic the truck is, having crank windows and just no bells and whistles, essentially. And the EV part was kind of an afterthought. Not that it wasn't important, it's not the most important thing of the truck. So after the presentation, they rolled out a few other working trucks into the reception area where we all had food and drinks. And there was this one base model pickup truck that was on stage. And while we were getting drinks, they started the process of converting this gray pickup truck into a blue SUV. So while they were doing that, I was actually in the accessories booth talking to I believe the accessory product manager. I forgot his exact title, but he was showing me all these different accessories that is available to the customer. And it was really interesting. You can change the color of the key fob if you want. You can add accessories to the key fob itself, adding a little screwdriver if you want, or anything else that you think might be useful for you. You can even change the trim around the buttons that go on the steering wheel. And they actually encourage you to create your own design through 3D printing. So from my understanding, it's basically an open source kind of thing, which is kind of great because it just brings that creative community together to make something better. I know Subaru makes a couple of those little badges, but you can basically print your own or design your own and just stick them on the dashboard of your SLATE truck. And about an hour after, they finally revealed the converted pickup truck, and now it is a blue SUV, which I went to go check out myself. And it was really interesting because the interior was very spacious considering the size of a truck. Smaller than the Maverick, definitely, but has a 7 or 9, I can't remember what the size of the truck bed was. And the interior space is actually not too bad. Felt like it was more utilitarian than anything. I think that's the appeal of it. Like, it doesn't try to be fancy in any way, and SLATE is quite honest with that fact. So in the beginning of this video, I mentioned that I think this product is a very important product, especially during this time. And the reason I think that is, well, there's a couple of reasons. But for one, I think there's a reason why this truck has been hyped up so much over on social media. I think it's a product that finally bridges that gap between the older consumer who aren't really completely sold on EVs and the younger generation who are more into like tactile stuff. I'm starting to see a resurgence in stuff that you can actually physically touch. I think people are starting to get tired of digital experiences like touchscreens. I myself, I'm a big tech guy, but I'm starting to get tired of it. I long for the days when I could just flip a phone and just do something really different, because it just brings you a different experience. And it's kind of funny saying that nowadays, because now like having knobs and dials in a car seems, it's like a novelty now, and it's such a great experience. The other thing that I think is very important about this product is that it really does feel homegrown, like USA made. It feels honest, it feels humble, it feels hardworking. And these are the things that are very appealing to Americans. And I think they just hit the nail in the head with that branding. And I really, really like that. I think also the appeal of the truck isn't so much as the customization part, but it's more inviting because it's a lot more affordable. It's a lot easier to approach a product when it's not too expensive. You could argue that you can lease or buy an EV for cheap that is tried and tested. But I think part of the American spirit is being innovative and taking risks and just trying something new. And I think this messaging that SLATE showed speaks to that notion. Third, I think there's a lot more to the appeal of a truck that's just super basic. And the best way I could describe it is I would liken it to my experience using my old Samsung S23 Ultra. When I boot it up for the first time, there's just so many things that are added to the phone that I don't really need. And it's asking me to install this, download that. And sometimes I just want something that works. The SLATE EV truck, it's just a vehicle that can take you from point A to B, and it's safe, and it just happens to be an EV. They don't even shy away from the fact that it only delivers up to 130 miles per charge for the base model. And I think you can get an extended battery version or something that will extend that to about 230 miles. They're not even trying to hide it. So it's one of those things that I really appreciate about the presentation. Fourth, it's not really about engine or performance or speed or towing capacity. It's just about being available to the American people, because that's something that we've been wanting for years now. There are many companies out there who are making really great products, and I've experienced some of them, but they're always just out of reach for most people. And when I think of the SLATE, because of the more affordable price point, it's almost like I go into it with very low expectations and I'm not completely offended. The last reason I think this is an important product is because I think there's this trend or interest in going back to a more analog experience. We've seen it in phones, keyboards, even Sony has released their Walkman, I believe. And I know most of it is just nostalgia, but even the younger generation have shown interests in older cameras or music players. I think by nature, we just like to physically feel things and experience things rather than through our eyes and through a digital screen. I ended up talking with the social media manager of SLATE Auto, and I point blank just asked them, why was I invited? They basically said that they wanted to reach out to people who are not just car enthusiasts, basically the American people. You can be anyone. You could be into interior design, manufacturing, you could be a writer, and this truck will speak to you. And I thought that was really interesting. So you can actually reserve your own SLATE truck now for only $50, and it is refundable. Did I put a reservation down? I actually did, because I'm very curious. Also, I'm actually very hopeful for the company. What are my expectations? To be honest with you, not a lot. Even their goals seem lofty to me, because they said that they expect to deliver their product by the end of 2026.
Our factory in Indiana is tooling up now, preparing for first vehicles to reach our customers in Q4 2026.
Which is kind of ridiculous. So while a big part of me kind of doubts that will happen, I have been surprised before, so I remain optimistic. So my final thoughts on the SLATE pickup truck is that I feel like this should have been what the Ford Maverick is. When the Maverick came out for the first time, I was really excited by it because I wanted a car that was simple, purposeful, and most importantly, affordable. But I couldn't even find a dealership that was actually selling it for MSRP, which is ridiculous. And since SLATE Auto is going to do the direct consumer route instead of going through a dealership network, that means the price is whatever they set the price is going to be. Again, I remain hopeful. I don't know what's going to happen within the next year. I really hope that SLATE is still around by then, but I thought it was a really interesting experience. Go check out the website. I think it's well done. Even on mobile, there's a little subtle animation that I really enjoy, and it's just a company that I will be rooting for. It being American, and I want companies like that to succeed, especially during this time when it's kind of not the best to make vehicles, if I'm being honest. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.